This is a May update on my 112 gallon Average Reef. You can see I have done some changes to the aquascape, most notably that giant hammer in the far right. It used to be dead center, tucked away in the back where that Kenya tree under the green leather is. It's looking way better now that it has space, flow, and a little bit more light. It's actually quite a nice piece, but for a long time it was really just out of sight and out of mind. It was a little bit of a pain to attach here. I used some reef welder and my last remaining pieces of rock rubble. I actually could add some more live rock in the corner here if I could get my hands on some. There's room for a few more corals. This is kind of an ugly side shot, but eventually the side will be cleaned up. The view here isn't quite as nice as the other side. Even though it is a narrow tank, the side shot is my favorite. It's really nice to see all the corals flowing in the distance and the fish appearing and disappearing out of view. The toadstool here is still shading out a lot of corals, but I think it's going to do okay. Speaking of shading, this is a par 38. They were like the first LED bulbs. I'm using it as a spotlight over here. It's probably not really adding any par, very little, but visually it's helping. I've also cleaned up this area here so the corals look a little bit nicer and are more on display. I had some mushrooms and Kenya trees growing between them, and a couple of these guys were getting stung out a little bit, particularly that barabanki. But now that there's nothing around, they should fatten back up quickly. The green leather is of course what's shading everything out. I don't really have any intentions of fragging it unless I absolutely have to. I love having the giant colony, and one day in the distant future if I get a giant tank, I'll already have a big piece for it. My dendros are also doing great lately. Quite a few of the baby polyps have finally grown up to full size. It's basically filled that area. Even these impossibly slow growing clove polyps are finally starting to grow. My angel keeps getting in the way, so let's look at her streamers. This is pretty unique, I think. You don't normally see females with streamers like this. I keep thinking she's going to turn into a male, but it never seems to happen. My yellow scopas also wants to be included. And we'll get the flame hawkfish in the video as well. He's almost always perched on the cabbage coral there. The little green frag is starting to grow into the main colony, which will be nice. This one mushroom here I've had for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but look, it's starting to bounce. There's a regular one, and here's the bounce one. They don't really get a lot of light. They're kind of tucked away too, but who knows, maybe I'll have bounce mushrooms soon. My Teenie continues its slow growth. I look at other people's and they grow much faster, but mine is always very plump. Here in the corner, this is the one area that needs some work. It's just kind of a mess. There's not a lot of light past the hammer. I mean, there's only a couple of inches, but eventually I'll fix that area up too. Here you can see the lepto is once again encrusting over the Kenya tree. This is such a weird thing to watch, mainly because it doesn't bother the Kenya tree at all. Those pieces are real easy to frag, but I've got a couple dozen already in my frag tank right now, so I don't really need any more. That's about it. I do plan on adding more corals soon. I just want to make sure that they are disease-free, particularly fish disease. I don't mind little pests and stuff like that. That can be corrected later, but fish are getting harder and harder to replace, so I want to hold on to the guys that I do have. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and happy reefing.